I don't like to be a judgmental person. So I honestly believe that everybody has the right to be themselves. I think it's a terrible idea when people have to actually fake who they are to make other people happy. So we're going to dive into this video today and speak on, there was this debate this gentleman was having specifically on the transgender issue. Like this, to me, it's a lot of people might look at this and think this is uncomfortable for them, but I don't understand how can someone dressing like that make you uncomfortable. If they're happy with who they are, they're happy with being themselves, they get up every single day and feel comfortable dressing like that and being who they truly want to be in life, I think we should all celebrate people's happiness. I don't think there is no reason to ever wish bad or hope bad for people that's maybe different and have different ideas as such as we have. I think everybody deserves to be celebrated for them being themselves. So that's when it comes to that argument, I'm basically, listen, the only thing that I don't think that was right from the get-go is trans people actually being allowed to go in biological women's bathroom. I think that's not a good idea. And the second thing that I always disagree with is the simple fact that trans people was allowed to play in sports. Like trans women was allowed to play against biological women in sports. I always thought that was a terrible idea, because no matter if you change your sex from a man into a woman, your biological strength as a man never goes away. It doesn't matter what type of steroids or PEDs you might be using, it will never take away the strength that you was born with as a man. You could change everything, absolutely, but your strength always going to remain. So Mr. President Trump actually did an executive order, which I thought that was the best thing to do in this situation, because I don't think he should have never been allowed.
Are you a man or a woman?
Are you referring to biological sex or gender?
There's only sex.
Well, if you're referring
It's
to
the same
biological
thing.
sex, I have the reproductive organs of a biological male.
So you are a man.
Well, that could mean gender, in which case I would say no.
It's the same thing.
Same thing. Sex and
They're
gender are
not.
the same
So
thing. Gender
there's only
is a
two
construct.
genders. There's only two genders:
Okay.
male and female, man and
Male and
woman.
female are biological sexes.
Yeah. So man
So, like,
and woman.
dogs can be males or females, but they can't be men or women, right?
We're not. Are you an animal?
No, that's why I can.
Yeah,
also
I'm not
be a
an
woman.
animal. No, I'm not an animal. We're humans. We're humans.
This is a debate that actually they're having with a trans person. And this debate gets heated after a while, because once again, it's straightforward questions. Are you or aren't you? From the time I was born, I was told there is two genders, a boy or a girl. So it's either you're a boy or you're a girl. So that's the thing about the trans community, and I don't want to say nothing that would be hurtful to nobody, because once again, I truly believe in letting people be themselves. I think it's a terrible idea when you have people that's around you and they can't be themselves. They have to portray someone else to make you happy or to make you feel comfortable.
So we don't call a dog a man or a dog a woman.
That's her point.
We call exactly what I'm saying. That proves my point. If you're a human being, the male and the female is together with man and woman. There's no distinction between the two.
So
There's
it
no
doesn't matter
distinction
then
between
if there's
male
no
and
if there's no
female?
distinction.
There's no
because-
distinct. I'm talking about there's no distinction between the male, the term of what it means, male and man. There's no distinction between that. Female
That's not true.
and woman. There's no distinction between that.
That's
No,
not
you
true.
can create a distinction between it.
A boy is a male, but he's not a man. A man is
No
an
one said
adult.
boy though. You just
Male.
inserted that in there. No one
Well,
said
a boy is a
boy.
male, but not a man.
No
Yeah.
one said boy.
But there's a reason.
I understand you didn't say boy, but
But
you said
there's a
male
distinction
and man
between
are the
that.
same word. They're not.
The argument is boy and a man and a boy. I don't see what's the difference. They're trying to create a difference by him trying to say that, listen, a boy, a man, and she's saying that a boy cannot be a man based on the age. But he's referring to when you're born. You're born a man, or you're born, regardless if you're a guy, a boy, or whatever it might be, the day you're born in a hospital with the help of God is either you're a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, a female or a male. So his whole thing is that, listen, is either you are a man, which is a male, or a female, which is a woman. So,
but not men. You understand the point?
But you are bringing up a boy is not a girl.
A boy is a young male. A man is an adult male. That's the only point I'm making.
What I'm saying is, they're still both males.
Yes, but you said male and man are the same thing. They're not the same thing. That's the only point I'm making.
No, it is.
No, because boys can be males, but not men.
He's just being pedantic, that's all.
Yeah, you're just being pedantic, and you're saying, well, boys. Who said boys? Did I ever say boys?
This is logic.
No, did I ever say boys? No, let's actually,
that's stupid.
Fellas, let her go ahead and say what she wants to say. But did I ever say boys?
No, you didn't. That's
okay, great. So if that is not a point. What you are then doing is you're inserting the word boys and trying to make a different point than the point I'm making. Do you get it? So you said, well, you didn't include.
the whole point is that you're referring to a male, which is a guy. You're referring to a man, which is a guy. You're referring to a boy, which is a guy. It's all the same thing. They're just trying to completely spin everything what this guy had to say.
Would be is not a mature adult, so it's not a man. Yeah, there's a distinction between that. I said that proved my point, which you didn't prove wrong, is that male and man, there's no distinction between the two. That has nothing to do with boy. Get your mind straight. Get your mind straight.
You say there's my point is there is a difference between
there's no male, if you bring in boy and you say that there's a distinction between a boy and a man, then yes, that's a different point than what I made, Grace. You have low IQ. No, Grace, no, stop it. You have low IQ now.
Why don't you call me a monkey?
You have low IQ. You have low IQ.
If you say there's no difference between a male and a man, then how can a boy be a male? Because a boy is not a man, but a boy is a male. That's my only point. Male and man are not exactly the same.
I don't understand her point. A boy is a male. If you're describing and you said, oh, it's a boy, you're referring to a male. If you're describing a woman, you could say a girl. If somebody's describing a girl, immediately that's a woman. Regardless of the age and stuff like that, if you're saying, okay, this little boy, at the end of the day, that's a male, because you're saying this little boy. It could be a little boy, a grown boy, an old boy, it doesn't matter. The term boys, regardless, at the end of the day, if you're saying you're referring to someone as a boy, it's a male. If you're referring to someone as a girl, it's a female. So they are just trying to twist the entire process of what he actually is trying to get across.
A male and a man, is there any distinction between the two?
Yes. A male
What's the distinction between the two?
A male is any age, any species, sex. A man is an adult human male.
That's a distinction between a man and a boy. Something is wrong with you. No, you literally have low IQ. You're bringing in another word and you're making a distinction for it, but you're not making a distinction for what I just said, because there's no distinction for it, Grace. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to your friend here, and then I'll give the floor to Dane. So once again, you identify as a man. Do I have that correct?
Oh no, my identity, which is psychological, not biological, by the way, has nothing to do with what my genital organs are, and it is with a woman, because that is a gender, not a sex.
Got it. So you identify as a woman. So already you're operating in a delusion. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, so all right, you are, well, that is a delusion. You can never be a woman, but in your mind you think that you are a woman. right?
I think it's delusional to expect 100% of the population to identify with their genitals, even though identity is something that happens at a different stage in development than the development of our sexual organs.
I feel like I'm black and
I don't understand what she just said. I completely listen. I respect everybody's way of life. If you want to be called a woman, if you have you listen, I will call you a woman. No problem. But his whole point is that at the end of the day, if you was born a man, there is no way logically that you can become a woman. Logically, it's not possible. But in your mind, you can always think that you are a woman, you was born as a woman. That's what he's trying to say, that's all in your mind. But in reality, it's never could be a possibility.
Question.
That has nothing to do with the development of your brain.
What do you mean? I have a lot of black friends. I have a lot of friends from the Caribbean. I'm very influenced by black culture. I mean, why can't I identify as black?
Because
you identify as a man, John. I think that's a little bit delusional.
You just need the attention, so go somewhere else. I'm trying to talk to your friend.
Yeah, so
no comeback. That's what I thought.
Identifying a particular gender is a natural stage of development. Not everyone might identify with their race because that's not a natural component of our brain to have that identity. But 99% of people, well, more than 99, but will identify with their genitals. It's a natural deviation. So key point natural for not everybody to do that because they happen at different stages of development, and those conditions can change throughout development. Things like testosterone levels in the womb can affect people's identities.
Okay, so question for you: if someone identifies, like if a man, male, because that is saying man and male, if this man identifies anything other than a female, is it then a delusion? Is it then mental illness? Like, say if he identifies as a cat.
So you mean women? Okay, sorry. I am trying to follow, so I was just making sure we're on the same page.
Oh, well, I'll make it very simple. If a human being identifies as anything other than another sex, male or female or man or woman, if they identify as anything else, is that a mental illness?
Not in its own right, but I'll give you this much. They wouldn't be functional in society, right? We don't need to accommodate those people, and they can't really make demands that would be reasonable. I think for me to make demands from a standpoint as a woman, well, we already accommodate women. We already have things in society for women. So I'm just asking to be accommodated as something that already exists.
Well, we have certain accommodations for women because there's a clear biological distinction between men and women. So therefore, you wouldn't get any of the special privileges that a woman or a female would get because you don't have the same biology. Make sense? This is why there's certain privileges for women because they are different than men. They're the weaker vessel. They can bear children. You can't.
He has a valid point. The accommodations that society made for women, and his point is that those accommodations is surrounded that women are here on this planet to continue the world by reproducing and having kids. That's a woman's right. And as a transgender person, there is no way possible. You can't do that. So the accommodations that a transgender person will expect in society, it's not going to come in that package as they really want it. Like the accommodation that they have 2 gender bathrooms all over the world. That's an accommodation that I think that with the way a lot of places are doing with allowing transgender people to actually use bathrooms of whatever gender they say they are. I think that's a terrible idea. And the only reason I think it's a terrible idea, there was a story that just took place the other day in California, in a gym, where this woman, it's a member of the gym, actually went into the locker room, and this woman was actually going in the locker room, and she was naked in the locker room, which is a girl's locker room, and there was this transgender person in the woman's locker room who identifies as a woman, but she noticed that the gentleman did not have the operation, so the gentleman the transgender was in the locker room. So that individual, they consider themselves to be a woman, so they identify as a woman. So nowadays, a lot of places will say, okay, if you identify as a woman, you're allowed to be in a woman's locker room. But that woman took it very serious, and she called police, and she made a huge deal about it. So that's where the problem comes in. And the only how I think to solve those type of problems in society, to treat everyone with respect, I think a lot of businesses, to avoid lawsuits and to avoid any type of problems, should actually open up a third bathroom. They have to figure it out, because going down this path of allowing transgenders based on who they identify as to use the bathroom as such as they identify themselves as, I think that's crazy. I think that's very crazy, because you could think that you could say, okay, I'm a girl, but if you still have biologically, you still have the male parts attached to you, and you're in a locker room filled with women, with biological women who don't have the male parts. And that's the reason why there's a separate bathroom for people with the male parts, that's boys. So that's my whole thing about it. But listen, once again, before I end this video, I just want to say every one of us are God kids, and I respect people for being who they are more than a coward. I have more respect for someone who has the guts to be themselves, no matter what people might think about them. I have the most respect for people like that. What I don't like is people that are afraid of what others have to say, so they're playing a role and trying to be something that they're not to please other people. I don't like cowards. I rather respect you for who you truly want to be. Be yourself. We're all God kids, hate it or love it. I rather people who choose to live their life the way they want to live their life. Be who you are. Be who be who makes you happy. Be what makes you happy. There you go. Guys, before I end this video, I just always like to take the time to show my gratefulness and utmost respect to our Commander-in-Chief, to our President of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump. So from me to you, salute as always. May God bless you and your family. So may God watch over you and your families on this beautiful, wonderful evening and forever. May God watch over you and your families on your trips throughout the United States and on your trips outside the United States. To every and all God kids throughout the United States, may God bless us all. To every and all God kids all around the world, may God bless you guys all. Ladies and gentlemen, always treat people with the love, the kindness, the care, the respect, and the loyalty that you expect others to treat you with at all times. Shorter version, always treat people the way you want to be treated. Always do what's right in the eyes of God and his family, and always make God a part of your decision making every day. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man.